The Memphis Grizzlies. Let's talk about the offseason that the Memphis Grizzlies are currently happening. They traded 2 first-round picks and Tyus Jones for Marcus Smart. They traded away Dylan. They did not trade away Dylan Brooks. They let Dylan Brooks walk. They brought in Josh Christopher and Isaiah Todd. My assumption is Josh Christopher and Isaiah Todd will probably be on the team for training camp. And I know, like, personally, I don't know if they'll be on the roster. I think they'll cut because I also think they're currently at 16 players. And the Memphis Grizzlies, like, don't get me wrong, I think they're a fun squad. The biggest question that we're wondering is, will, Josh stay on the court, and how will the team look when he's off the court? And when he comes back, will the team be even better? And they got rid of Tyus Jones, so they don't have the same guard that they've had over the last few years when John Morant did miss time. And with the current roster, I know they have Jacob Gilliard, who I'm a huge fan of, but currently with the roster, we're doing an off-season recap, and we'd like to hear your thoughts down below. They're at 17 players, okay, with two ways filled with Vincent Williams and Jacob Gilliard. With that being said, either Isaiah Todd or Josh Christopher will both be waived, or one of them will be converted to a 2-way contract. But yes, the team's already at 17 players with John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, Brandon Clark, Steven Adams, Zaire Williams, Desmond Bain, Jake LaRavia, Derrick Rose, David Roddy, Josh Christopher, John Conchar, Santi Alama, Xavier Tillman, Isaiah Todd, Kenneth Lofton. And obviously we assume Derrick Rose will be able to hold it down. Well, what are your thoughts?
And GG Jackson.
There's GG Jackson.
There's
I forgot about GG Jackson.
There's a lot of players on this basketball team. Yeah.
GG's probably the other 2-way.
Yeah, I think Christopher might be done in the NBA. I think he's poised for a G League year wherever he is. I think the Marcus Smart move is fit wise, I don't really understand Marcus Smart on the roster as, like, Dylan Brooks to me is a perfect player to have on your team.
I think Marcus Smart is better than Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, it's just Desmond Bain, to me, I just gave Desmond Bain a lot of money, and Desmond Bain is a shooting guard. Marcus Smart is a combo guard. John Morant's point guard. I like Marcus Smart on paper on the team, and I'm sure the fit is going to be perfectly fine. But I worry about their depth at the forward and just wing position in general. I mean, my current projected small forward is John Conchar, and that's because John Morant's suspension, so it'll be Desmond Bain. I love their starting unit. I think Ja, Marcus, Desmond, Jaren, and Steven is a really good starting unit. And I liked the trade of Luke Kennard last year. Your man Santi Aldama, the first-round pick David Roddy's a really enticing guy. Xavier Tillman's a good depth piece. Just bringing in Derrick Rose was a good move. Even deeper, Kenneth Lofton. I'm big on GG Jackson because he's a cock, but yeah, I mean, I don't think the pressing question is if John Morant stays on the court. I think he will, and he will lead their team as he's done in the past. So, yeah, just kind of restructuring.
I love this team, though. I really do. I'm not even a Grizzlies fan, but I love what they've done. First off, we got to give the Santi Aldama love, like you did. But, like, what I'm saying with Santi Aldama, 11 points, 6.5 rebounds, a block and a steal, night shooting 36% from 3 and 48% from the field in 20 games as a starter. When Jaren Jackson Jr. missed the beginning of the year, he averaged for the season 9, 5, and 2. But this is a team that I really like. Okay, yes, they lost Jones, but they bring in Derrick Rose and they bring in Marcus Smart, who I think those two will provide a mix of leadership and needed to right all the wrongs that they've had. And for me, the biggest issue with this Grizzlies team has often been health. Okay, they're going to start the season without John Morant for 25 games. Once he's back, they got to make sure the focus and the maturity is there for the rest of the year. But besides that, I think, look, Jaren Jackson Jr., Defensive Player of the Year, John Conchar, like, I like this team. I really, really do like this team. And I think when we look at them, I think the starting lineup probably to start the year is going to be Marcus Smart, Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr., Santi Aldama, and like he said, probably John Conchar, maybe David Roddy. But I think when Ja comes back, the starting lineup will be John Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Steven Adams with, Luke Kennard, Derrick Rose, John Conchar, Santi Alama, Brandon Clark, David Roddy, I think Jake LaRavia. I was talking to not even someone with the Memphis Grizzlies, but with someone with the main Celtics, and they said Jake LaRavia is a wing. So I think we'll see some Jake LaRavia at the wing. And I think what we saw with this team this year is continuity. They exchanged Dylan Brooks for the former Defensive Player of the Year and Marcus Smart, who's a way better defender, not as volatile, even though he is a bit, can be a bit streaky, but he's became a better facilitator. He's became a more efficient shooter. I just think on the whole, you getting yourself Marcus Smart has improved this team. Isaiah Todd, Josh Christopher, maybe you guys trade him at trading camp to some other team. But G. Jackson, I think, is the third two-way with Jacob Gilliard and Vincent Williams. And then Josh Christopher and Isaiah Todd, you either trade them to like the Spurs or the Blazers, or you just outright waive them. What do you? I just think they just improved the team, and they're ready for the games that, like I really do believe they're ready to miss the time that Ja is, and hopefully Marcus Smart and Derrick Rose can mentor Ja Morant to stop being such a hooligan.
Yeah, I don't think they really improved much on paper. If anything, I think they got worse. But
wow,
you're hoping that the guys you're mentioning, and Jake LaRavia as well, former first round pick as well, with David Roddy and David Roddy, you're hoping you build through the draft, and so you're hoping that these guys, and that's what they're thinking based on what I'm looking on their depth chart, is that these guys are ready to come in and fill in the absence of Dylan Brooks, and that they also have, guys named Desmond Bain. But you just look at the screen. You can't tell me the team got better. Isaiah Todd and Josh Christopher are redundant. They don't do anything for me. Derrick Rose's impact is not going to be on the court as opposed to off of the court. And on the court, he's nowhere near Tyus Jones's level. And you lost Dylan Brooks. You lost an all-NBA defender, and you lost the best backup point guard in the NBA. So, yeah, Marcus Smart's a good player. I like the fit, but I don't think that they improved on paper as far as additions and subtractions go. But they should be better than they were last year, because they already have – they do a really good job at drafting. They do.
I agree that they do a good job at drafting, and maybe Josh Christopher, like here, that he's going to be in training camp, and when he was playing for the Rockets 12.3 minutes a night, he averaged 5.8 points. So he could beat out Zaire Williams, who they could say is worse. But I agree. I would be shocked. I would agree that the fact that Josh Christopher, Isaiah Todd are redundant, and when you look at, they lost Dylan Brooks and Tyus Jones. Derrick Rose is not as good as Tyus Jones, but he's probably 50 or 75% of what Tyus Jones is. Then I will say Marcus Smart is better than Dylan Brooks. They upgraded there. So I think they didn't, on paper, they didn't significantly get super better, but like people say, like you said, is that they draft well, and they're going to, hopefully the guys that they've drafted will take those steps, those jumps, and get to a next level to help this team get to that next level and actually be competing for a championship.
Yeah.
Or is that too much?
No, I think it's an interesting question. Who's better, Dylan Brooks or Marcus Smart?
Won Defensive Player of the Year.
And almost won Defensive Player of the Year.
One did not almost win Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. But there's no way, just because Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year, that there's that big of a distinction between him and Dylan Brooks defensively. And offensively, I don't think that there's any difference, because they each have their own skill sets.
Okay.
And it's mainly on the defensive side. It's a pointless debate. I just thought it was interesting. It's an interesting one. I wonder where most NBA people stand on that. Chat. Who's better?
Marcus Smart and Dylan Brooks are both good defender. Are both good. I think Chris is saying.
Yeah, you'll take either.
I'd rather have Marcus Smart than Dylan Brooks.